Have you ever stood in a room full of people, everyone buzzing with conversation, laughter, distractions, yet inside, you feel like you're wading through a storm, trying to hold on to a single thread of peace? Now imagine being the most powerful man in the world, an emperor, and still wrestling with those same storms. That was Marcus Aurelius, a ruler of Rome, commanding armies, writing laws, holding together an empire. Yet every night, he turned inward, scribbling notes to himself. Not for history, not for his people, just for him. And those scribbles, they became meditations, a quiet, powerful manual on how to stay calm in chaos, kind in cruelty, and steady in the whirlpool of life. Hello, I am Harit, and welcome to Audiofybooks, where you will find excellent audio summaries of books in a very easy and interesting way. If you want to learn from new books, do subscribe to the channel. Let's get started with today's book. Marcus didn't write Meditations thinking anyone would ever read it. That's what makes it so different. It's raw. It's personal. It's a man reminding himself how to be better when the world around him gave him every excuse not to be. He wrote on military campaigns, in tents and in palaces, with the weight of an empire on his shoulders. And yet, the pages aren't filled with political schemes or imperial declarations. They're filled with reminders to be humble, to forgive, to stay present, and to remember how small we are in the vast flow of time. One of the first things you notice in Meditations is how often Marcus talks about control, or rather, how little of it we truly have. He reminds himself again and again, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. It sounds simple, but think about your last bad day. Was it the traffic, the rude email, the weather, or someone's comment that upset you? Marcus flips the script. He says, you can't control the wave, but you can surf it. That's your real strength. He often reflects on how fleeting everything is. Empires crumble, names fade. Even the greatest men are eventually forgotten. Not to be depressing, but to free us. Why worry about status or fame when in 100 years, even the most famous people alive will be dust in the wind? He wrote, consider the immensity of time and the swiftness of life. Everything is ephemeral. You feel that, right? That breath you just took, that moment, it's gone. So why waste energy on what doesn't truly matter? One of my favorite lines comes when Marcus talks about waking up in the morning. He writes, at dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. Imagine hitting snooze and then remembering you're a human on a mission. Your job isn't just emails or errands. It's to show up in the world with purpose, with goodness, and suddenly, the morning feels different. Over and over, Marcus drills in the idea that virtue, being good, being kind, being wise, is the only thing that truly matters. Not wealth, not praise, not even comfort. He says, just that you do the right thing. The rest doesn't matter. That's powerful. In a world that's obsessed with image, with likes, with recognition, this is a deep breath of truth. Do the right thing. That's the win. No one needs to see it. No one needs to applaud. And he's not naive about how hard that is. Marcus admits he's surrounded by liars, gossips, selfish people. Sound familiar? But he tells himself, and us, not to be surprised. When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. Brutal honesty. But then he adds, they are like this because they don't know what's good or evil. That doesn't excuse them, but it helps us not carry their behavior inside us. It helps us meet ignorance with patience, hate with strength, noise with quiet. There's something deeply modern about Marcus's thoughts. Even though he lived almost 2,000 years ago, his struggles feel familiar. Imposter syndrome? He had it. Anxiety? Absolutely. Fear of the future, frustration with people, the tension between doing what's right and what's easy, all there. And he doesn't pretend to have it all figured out. That's the beauty of meditations. It's not a lecture. It's a companion, like an older brother who's been through hell and is just trying to keep walking the path. He talks about nature a lot too, not in a poetic way, but in a grounding way. For him, to live in accordance with nature meant to accept reality as it is, not as we wish it to be. Rain falls, people betray, bodies get sick. All of it is part of the natural order. Resisting it only creates suffering. Imagine trying to stop the wind by standing in its path with your arms out. Doesn't work. But if you turn your back and let it carry you, that's wisdom. That's stoicism. In the moments when Marcus reflects on death, he's not morbid. He's clear. He reminds himself that death isn't a punishment. It's part of the deal. Like returning a borrowed book, he says, "Do not act as if you had 1,000 years to live." That line always hits, because how often do we delay what really matters? We wait to be kind, to say "I love you," to chase our dream, to forgive. Marcus would say, "Go now." Time is never guaranteed. Throughout meditations, there's this constant theme of returning to the present. The past is done. The future is unknown. The only place you live is now. He urges himself to stay with what he's doing. Whether it's writing, talking, walking, total presence. It's so counter to how we live today, right? Multitasking, phone scrolling, worrying about tomorrow. Marcus cuts through all that with one sentence. Confine yourself to the present. It's not easy, but even trying it, just for a moment, feels like turning down the volume on everything else. You also get the sense that Marcus knew the importance of people, the right people. He praises his teachers, his mentors, the friends who showed him how to live with dignity. He doesn't claim to be self-made. He was shaped, guided, supported. And that's a reminder for all of us. Choose people who lift you, not drain you, who remind you who you are when you forget. Who live with values, not just talk about them. When it comes to emotions, Marcus doesn't say to suppress them, but to examine them. Anger, jealousy, pride, they're natural. But should they lead us? No. He compares letting emotions drive your life to letting a wild horse steer your carriage. You'll crash. Instead, he says, acknowledge the emotion, understand where it comes from, and then choose your response with clarity. He also talks a lot about duty. As an emperor, sure, but also as a human being. Duty to family, to society, to yourself. Not because someone's watching, but because doing what's right is its own reward. He writes, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." That line always stops me in my tracks. We debate, we post, we theorize, but at the end of the day, just be it. Be the person your younger self would look up to. It's fascinating how a man with so much power constantly reminds himself to be humble. He says, "Do not waste what remains of your life in speculating about others. It is not your task." Imagine a leader today saying that. So rare. But that's what makes Marcus's voice feel like a lighthouse. Calm, clear, anchored. And what's even more amazing is that all these insights came not from comfort, but from challenge. He ruled during plagues, wars, betrayals, and personal loss. Yet he found a way to center himself, to keep showing up, to lead with grace. That's the real legacy of meditations. Not just the words, but the man who lived them. As you finish listening to his reflections, one thing becomes clear. Peace isn't the absence of problems. It's the presence of inner order. A kind of strength that comes not from dominating others, but from mastering yourself. And that's something we all can strive for, whether we're emperors or everyday people trying to live a good life. If you take just one thing from Marcus Aurelius, let it be this. Your thoughts shape your world. Guard them, guide them, And when life feels overwhelming, go back to the page. Go back to yourself, and remember, everything you need to face this moment is already within you.